before the trial could even begin. And that's when millions of people stopped believing the story was that simple. Because Jeffrey Epstein wasn't just a wealthy man. He was connected to some of the most powerful people on Earth. This is the story of the case that still leaves more questions than answers. Jeffrey Epstein didn't just have money, he had access. And once people realized who was around him, this stopped looking like a normal criminal case, because suddenly leaked flight logs started spreading online. Phone books surfaced, court documents appeared, photos connected him to celebrities, billionaires, politicians, royalty, and people everywhere started asking the same terrifying question. How many powerful individuals knew what was happening around Jeffrey Epstein? Now listen carefully, because this story gets darker the deeper you go. And the craziest part? For years, most people had never even heard his name. Before this goes further, follow Void Archives. Right now, if you want real stories, the internet still argues about to this day. And comment Epstein if you stay until the end. Because once you see the timeline clearly, this case starts feeling unreal. Jeffrey Epstein presented himself as a wealthy finance figure connected to elite circles, private jets, luxury mansions, exclusive parties, meetings with influential people from around the world. From the outside, it looked like a billionaire lifestyle. But behind the scenes, reports and allegations had reportedly existed for years. Former employees described strange environments. Former victims later spoke publicly about manipulation and control. And according to investigations, concerns around Epstein went back long before the public explosion of the case. Still, his world kept expanding. More money, more connections, more influence. And that's the part people still can't understand. Because usually, when serious accusations surround someone, their reputation collapses. But somehow, Epstein kept moving through powerful circles like nothing was wrong. That's why online discussions around him became so intense. People didn't only see Epstein as one dangerous individual anymore. They started seeing a network. Then came one of the most controversial moments in the entire timeline. Epstein reached a legal deal that many journalists and legal experts later criticized heavily. Some people believed the punishment felt unusually light, considering the accusations connected to the case. And after that, public trust started breaking fast. Because now the story didn't feel normal anymore. It felt protected, like influence was operating quietly behind closed doors. Years later, investigative reporters reopened interest in the case. And this is where everything exploded online. Leaked flight records started circulating. People analyzed names connected to private flights. Court documents spread across social media. Old photos resurfaced. Suddenly, millions of people were researching the same thing at the same time. Who visited Epstein's properties? Who stayed connected to him after the accusations? Who knew more than they admitted publicly? And once famous names started appearing beside Epstein online, the entire story became global. Because now people weren't only talking about crime. They were talking about power, about influence, about protection, about whether wealthy people live by completely different rules. If you're still watching, you already understand why this case became one of the biggest internet mysteries of the modern era. Comment Epstein if you think the public still doesn't know the full story. Because now we reach the moment that changed everything. July 2019. Jeffrey Epstein is arrested again. And this time, the pressure is massive. The media is everywhere. News stations cover every update. People believe the truth is finally about to come out publicly. Who else was involved? What information would appear in court? How deep did these connections really go? And then, before the trial could even begin, Epstein was found dead in his jail cell. Officially, the death was ruled a suicide, but almost immediately, suspicion exploded online. Reports about security failures started spreading. People questioned how cameras reportedly malfunctioned. Others pointed at missed guard checks and confusing timelines. And when something confusing happens around someone connected to powerful people, the internet never lets it go. To be clear, there is no confirmed evidence proving Epstein was intentionally killed. But what made millions of people distrust the official version was the timing. Right before trial, right before more testimony, right when global attention was focused on the investigation, he was gone. And after that, the case stopped feeling like a normal investigation. It became something much bigger online. Because now people weren't only asking what Epstein did, they were asking what secrets disappeared with him. That's why the leaked files became such a massive obsession online. Not because every rumor was true, but because some connections were undeniably real. Photos were real, flight logs were real, court documents were real. And once people saw how many influential names had crossed paths with Epstein, trust collapsed. Because suddenly, the public realized something disturbing. This wasn't a hidden criminal, living alone in secret. This was someone moving through elite circles for years. And maybe the darkest part of all, even after one of the biggest scandals in modern history, many people still feel like they never got the complete picture. Too many loose ends, too many unanswered questions, too many powerful names attached to the story. That feeling changed public trust forever. Because once people believe influence can affect justice, every official explanation starts sounding incomplete. Jeffrey Epstein became more than a criminal case. He became a symbol of something people feared deeply. That behind wealth and power, there may be an entirely different set of rules. So what really happened behind closed doors? Maybe one day the full truth comes out. Maybe it never does. But one thing is certain. This case permanently changed how millions of people see power, influence, and secrecy. Now don't just watch this and move on. Comment Epstein if you believe there are still unanswered questions. And follow Void Archives, because the truth doesn't disappear. It gets buried.